Welcome to As the Crow Flies Hiking. I am on a adventure trip on the Suwanee River. It's 6 days, 5 nights, about 100 miles. We started from White Springs, Florida, and ending in Branford, Florida. So I'd like to talk about some of the preparation and planning and the type of gear that you need for a trip like on the Suwanee River. To go on the Suwanee River, you really need to make reservations at the different river camps. We've stayed at multiple river camps, though 2 were almost uninhabitable and we weren't able to stay there. Colton River Camp was pretty much demolished. A lot of the structures were down, and the one we stayed at, I'll put it on the screen. It's been a long day, so I can't remember all of them, but there are some really nice river camps. In fact, tonight we're at probably the nicest one that we've stayed at. It's the Peacock Slough River Camp. And what you see is what you get when you reserve one of these camps along the river. This is just a platform that has a bug screen all the way around it. And as I've said, it has a fan, it has a light, it has outlets, 2 outlets there. It's fantastic. You can reserve them about every even 10 or 20 miles, and that's what we've done. About 20 miles, we find the next river camp. This one comes equipped with your own little platform that's screened in away from the bugs. You have a light, you have a fan, you have electricity, and then you have a bathhouse, which is over there in this particular river camp. So it has a shower in it, it has hot water, it has primitive camping, and it has a boat ramp that you can pull your kayaks up. These different river camps are all along the river, and it makes it accessible because we had to stay on a point at one of the different places, and that was very difficult to find because there's a lot of residential places along the way, so you have to find something that's in a conservation area or something that's not private property, because you'll see private property signs along the way. The river is perfect. It moves, I don't know, half 1 mile an hour maybe, I don't know exactly, but it moves so you feel like you're moving even though you're paddling, and so you do get a good pace along the way for the day. In fact, we've been able to do 20 miles and basically get to camp by 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening, even with stops during the day. Also along the way, you find different springs, these freshwater springs that come out of the ground and then they go into the bracken water, and we've stopped a lot of those along the way. There are also campgrounds along the way that you can reserve a cabin in. Now, I will say that 2023 was not good for the Suwanee River because it damaged a lot of the campgrounds, and some of them are closed, or some of the accessibility things are not there anymore. So we have been able to stop and go to the boat ramp and even get water or restrooms at some of them, and they've been really nice as well. Now, I will say, if you're planning one of these, I can't remember the exact mileage, maybe 178 or so miles from the Georgia line on the Suwanee River all the way to the Gulf. I don't know what the situation is with river camps beyond Branford. I just know that that's what we were able to do for our trip, which is approximately 100 miles. So the rest of the trip, I wouldn't know how to do it if you're planning the through paddle, I guess you could call it, of the whole Suwanee River, because we were only doing 100 miles of it. Now, some of the gear that you may want to take, obviously, the biggest thing is your kayak. I'm carrying a 14-foot kayak that has a rudder, a drop-down rudder, and that has really helped out a lot. I don't know what I've done without it, because boats go through and it does kind of steer you around. There's also whirlpools and currents underneath that will move you in and out, especially when we're going around a turn of the river where all the sand is coming up and it almost pulls you back into the shore. So a kayak with a really good paddle, make sure that you got the right size paddle for yourself. I'm carrying a carbon shaft paddle. I also have gloves. They're old trekking gloves for biking, but they don't have fingers in them, and they have dry rotted over all the trips that I've done, so I'll have to get some more of those. I will say it's important to, beyond your paddle and your kayak or canoe, whatever you want to do, is to also figure out what you're going to do for shelter and have an emergency shelter. So I have a tent with me, other people have a hammock, so in case you get off pace or you don't get to your destination, you can have an emergency shelter. You can stay on shore somewhere along the way, and that's been helpful. So carry a sleeping pad. If you're going to stay in one of these platforms, you will need some kind of sleeping pad, or they have hooks for a hammock. Also, I think it's important to have the right clothing. I'm in July, so I'm wearing shorts. Also have like water shoes, and those have been perfect because they dry real easy and I can just slip them on and off, and they're great for this type of activity. I also carry kind of a polyester wind shirt with a hood, because when the sun comes down you want to keep your face out of the sun and keep it protected, or have sunscreen. So I've carried one of those and used that the whole way just to keep the sun off of me. However, it's rained a good bit. So I also carried a rain jacket. And why I carried the rain jacket is, of course, I'm filming, so I have to have all my electronics and my phone on me, and I make sure that they're protected. Along with that, most people are going to carry some kind of phone to communicate or take pictures, and I got this thing off of Amazon. It's a strap, and you probably see it in my video, that has a hook on it, or a clamp, and it has a carabiner on one side, so it attaches your phone. You slide it inside your phone and then the case over it, and if I was to drop my phone, I have it over my shoulder so I won't lose it. And I've always worried about that for multiple kayak trips, so this time I felt very safe that I would not lose my phone. You can see behind me that I have 4 dry bags. Now, my kayak has a compartment in the front and the back to keep all my gear, but I carry these dry bags just to make sure, in case I flipped or something or water got in, they would still stay dry, and it keeps me organized. So one carries all my essentials and clothing, another carries all my sleeping gear and shelter and sleeping bag and sleeping pad, another carries all my food, and then another carries different items that are just random and I need throughout the day. So in that 4th bag, I would pull out the different Ziploc bags. Yes, I do carry some freezer bags to carry in front if I need to get something. A lot of the stuff that I have is behind my seat, so if I need to get to my batteries or something to drink, I do that. I did carry like an 8-pack of Powerades or Gatorades or whatever, and kept them behind my seat, and that's been good because some of the water has to be boiled or filtered, and so you want to make sure you got clean water during the day and then boil or filter it at night. Of course, you want to make sure that you have your life vest. I have worn it most of the time, though sometimes I didn't want to wear it, though I should, but I would put it on the front in the netting of my kayak. So make sure that you do have at all times a protection for in case you fell out, because the Suwanee River is very wide. If you're in the middle of the channel, it would take you a while to swim, so make sure you got that. Of course, I have my cook kit and everything that I need for eating at night, and that has been worked out well. I've carried different meals for the day at night, and then during the day I usually have peanut butter or whatever. In the morning, have some sort of bar, and then a snack during the day. So with that, I will say that that's pretty much all the gear that I have. I may have missed something. If I have, put it below. Maybe I just forgot about it. So something to think about. If you want to have an adventure on the Suwanee River, it is a wonderful place to be, and I've had an incredible time, and I still got another day or so to go. All right, guys, thanks for watching this episode of As the Crow Flies Hiking, and I'll see you on the next adventure.